Hi, this is Brendan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and I'm here with Adam today. We're doing a truncated episode, holding the fort down for Joel while he's recovering from hefty design work, and we're going to be doing The Thundering Sword. This is a 1967 film. The plot is two young swordsmen are sent by their peaceful clan to retrieve a powerful sword to prevent its misuse. Along the way, they separately meet a young, impetuous swordswoman from a rival clan who poisons one and falls in love with the other. That's actually surprisingly accurate for an IMDb breakdown of a movie like this. It misses all of the drama that sort of ensues, but I think you can kind of intuit it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, this is a 1967 film. It stars Cheng Pei-Pei, and it's directed, and I probably will mispronounce this, by Su Tung Hung, and he's famous for the Temple of the Red Lotus trilogy. I don't know if you've seen that, Adam, but that's
I don't think so.
yeah, the Temple of the Red Lotus is like his big. I think those were his first movies, and he also did what was it? He did another one that was very important, Swordsman at Large, and he did a few other movies, The Invincible Sword. He did, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this too because I'm not as familiar with this series as other people, Zatouchi and the One-Armed Swordsman in 1970. I'm not sure if that's how that character's name is pronounced, but I love The Temple of the Red Lotus. Those three movies are great, and this movie feels very much in that era of like not early, but like this is like right when Shaw Brothers is first kind of getting its new school wuxia, and like Come Drink with Me is just met with some success, and this movie feels a little more old fashioned than Come Drink with Me, but it's still part of that same era.
Yeah, it's very well directed, I gotta
Yeah.
say. So,
And so, what was your reaction to the movie?
I enjoyed it. It's been a little while since I watched a Shaw Brothers movie that was new to me. So it was,
Okay.
I was very receptive. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for some Shaw Brothers, and this is a very good, solid serving of Shaw Brothers. Like you say, it is early in their kind of classic era, but it's but no, I felt like they really had all the gears turning on this one.
Yeah. The now, what did you like about it the most? Would you say what was the thing that stood out, if anything?
Ooh, the thing I like the most. Well, for one thing, it's a great cast. For one thing, I don't think I can go with one thing. I'll go with the things I
Okay,
like. But
that's fine.
yeah, the cast, the direction are both fantastic. It's a good story. I don't think you've mentioned it yet. It's heavily inspired by Heaven's Sword, Dragon Saber, which I have not read, but I have seen the movie of what am I? I'm drawing a complete mental blank.
No, that's fair.
Web of Death.
Web of
Web
Death.
of Death, and which is based off this movie. So I knew the whole outline of the plot going into this, but once again, it was still very engaging, even knowing I'm like, okay, I can instantly see every story beat that's going to happen, but I was engaged enough with the acting, with the characters, the direction enough that I wasn't bored by the fact I kind of knew where it was going. So that's real credit to the movie.
No, yeah, and this one I think it deviates enough from Heaven's Sword, Dragon Saber that it's almost its own experience.
Okay,
But
good.
like definitely the plot beats are there, but like the form they take is quite different. And again, as you mentioned, this is like, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 99% sure that this is like what Web of Death was based on, because all of the plot elements from Heaven's Sword, Dragon Saber in that movie resemble this one, not Heaven's Sword, Dragon Saber. So like the way they change clan names and things like that.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
I think the thing that so number one, I guess we could talk about the sword play first. This is a movie that I've actually seen in the past because I did a review of it on the blog, and when I did, I went back and looked at my old review just to see, hey, did I completely change my mind on this movie or not? Sometimes that happens. I didn't.
Yeah.
But but I was curious, what did I think of the sword play? Because it's been like 10 or 11 years or maybe 12 years since I did that review, I think. And I like the swordplay, but I noted that there were a lot of reviews online of people that didn't like the swordplay or complained about it. And the thing that I could think of was, number one, I'm a little unclear on who did the fight choreography. I've heard that Lau Kar-leung did because he's in the cast somewhere, I think, or like somebody connected to him is. I don't know. Actually, I don't think he is in the cast. I mean, but I've heard that he did. Oh no, he is. He plays one of the security escorts for U Security. Okay, so he is in the cast. I don't know if people just saw that and figured, oh, he must have done it. You know, because there's a number of actors that also do, you know, fight choreography or whatever.
Yeah.
I know that the director also did fight choreography in one movie once. But I cannot find like a good source saying who did the fight choreography or martial arts direction. So I'm going to assume there is a martial arts director, but if there isn't, you know, that might be a factor here. But to me, I think that the martial arts look very much in the style of Come Drink With Me. That sort of, which might have something to do with them having Cheng Pei-Pei as the star, where it's a very flowing, you know, dance-like type of fight choreography. It's certainly not that later mid-70s Shaw Brothers fight choreography, and definitely not like the Kung Fu Craze fight choreography. But it's got like a weightlessness to it at times. It's got a fantasy element to it. I enjoyed it, and I always like watching Cheng Pei-Pei move across the screen. I just think she's graceful, and so, you know. But I don't know. Did you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, actually, now you bring it up. I found the choreography a little uneven. Like, there were some scenes I was like, you know, like, for example, the scene when the escort company gets ambushed on the road. I wasn't, like, crazy about the fight choreography in that scene, but you mentioning Cheng Pei-Pei as an influence is the scene with her where she attacks the escort agency and kills everyone. That was great. I really loved the flow of the combat in that scene. So it's... I would rate the choreography as uneven. When they use Cheng Pei-Pei, though, it's very good.
I would agree with you on that, because I just rewatched that escort attack scene, and there's definitely some clunky movements going on in it. That it doesn't seem as well planned out as the U.S. Court massacre scene does. So I could definitely see that. But again, I think also when I watch a movie that's like a Cheng Pei-Pei movie, primarily what I'm looking at is Cheng Pei-Pei. And so, you know, so I think that I tend to interpret those movies a little differently. If I see somebody if there's a fight scene and nobody's really standing out, it just kind of makes her look better anyways in my head. You know, so that's sort of, it might be just the way that I tend to see these as, this is a Cheng Pei-Pei vehicle. So I interpret it through that lens. The other thing about this movie is the melodrama. The melodrama is saturated, and it's not just so. I think this requires a little bit of description, because it's not like if you've seen any of these Chinese drama series or whatever, where there's drama every episode. It's more in the style of like the really old movies from like the 40s and 50s, where people are more familiar with the 1980s parody film, you know, mockery of that style than they are of that style itself, where like the music starts to swell up. Do you know what I mean? At an emotional moment, it almost sounds like somebody turned on a record player right as the scene is happening.
Yeah, the music was very noticeable in this movie. I like the music in this movie, but you're right; it was very, very emotional. A very emotional soundtrack for a Shaw Brothers movie.
Yeah. And I'm not knocking it with that description. I'm just trying to paint a picture for people so that they understand what we're talking about. And because sometimes I'll talk about a film and I'll say, oh, it was passionate and great, and they're picturing this sleek A24 movie, and it's not that at all. It's this thing, this creaky thing from from this earlier bygone era of filmmaking, and it doesn't. You have to approach a movie like this with a certain amount of grace, and you have to be willing to step into the context of the time, and also be understanding of the limitations that a Shaw Brothers production would have had. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, obviously you're talking to the audience here. I've watched Shaw Brothers movies now that it's like that switch flips in my head automatically. I don't even think about it. I'm like, all right. But, it's... compared to Web of Death, I feel this is a more emotional movie than Web of Death. Like, if you're looking for slam bang, Shaw Brothers action, and really over-the-top stuff, go with Web of Death. If you want the emotional beats of the story, go with this one. That's kind of my my feeling between the two. This one landed a lot more emotionally, I
Yeah.
think, than
Yeah.
than
Web of Death is just this chaotic explosion of genre stuff that just
well,
all comes
this
together like a brilliant fireworks display. And this is really kind of more of a classic. We want to tell a melodramatic story set in the martial world.
yeah. If I was going to compare the two, one point you can compare it to is the scene where they retrieve the artifact, which in this is a sword and Web of Death is the spider thing.
Yeah.
The scene where it's achieved in this one, you have these two guys go into a tomb who are brothers, and one of them dies, and I felt kind of bad for him.
Mm.
And the other one, in Web of Death, it's it's just this crazy dungeon
Yeah.
complex with traps that are just it's just so over the
Yeah.
top that I love it. It's fantastic, but I think that's a point that really highlights
Yeah.
the difference between these
And
two movies.
and this movie, I mean, to an extent, Web of Death does too, but this one really has that stagey element to it, where it's like it's done like a play, where like two people
Yeah.
will be talking and somebody creeps into the foreground and is eavesdropping very obviously for the audience, and you have to be willing to accept that. And again, I'm addressing the audience, not Adam, but you have to be willing to accept that those kinds of coincidental elements that make the story happen, and the way that they're kind of presented to you, and again in like a play-like way, like but I think with that, the reason why I like that, the reason why I like movies like this or the One-Armed Swordsman really work for me on all of these sound stages with this kind of very, play stage direction rather than movie stage direction sometimes, is that it feels a little bit more like something like Shakespeare or something as a result. Do you know what I mean? It's got
Well, it's very Shakespearean type stories.
Yeah.
So it works for this very well.
So, but yeah, I thought the drama worked. I liked the music. I like movies like that. I like,
Yeah.
but I think some people will see it and they will bounce off the emotion the scene is building because of the music. But I think if you give yourself to
I
it,
like it.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm honestly surprised I haven't heard more about this movie in discussion, because I'm like, I thought this was a very good Shaw Brothers movie, in my opinion. So
Yeah. No,
I
it's
like it highly.
it's really great, and it has this rich martial world, which obviously is courtesy of the source material, but they have to bring it to life. And
Yep.
it's one of a handful of movies where Cheng Pei-Pei plays. She's not quite an evil character, but she comes from an evil clan, and she's definitely very shady when we first meet her, and just kills at the drop of a hat, and doesn't. And then there's this opening scene where we meet Cheng Pei-Pei, and these robbers or rival clan ambush her and demand her weapon. I think does she already have the sword at this
No,
point?
she's got it. She doesn't.
Okay.
No, she just random.
Okay.
She shows her swords. Like,
Okay.
look, see.
Oh yeah, they're trying to get and then she ends up killing them all, and then she meets the love interest in the movie. I think it's Yu is the guy's name, Yu Chien Wan, and he kind of reprimands her, but then she goes from like ferociously defending her, like, of course I can kill them, like, like they were tried to take my sword, why shouldn't I kill them? And then she just jumps right into flirting with him, and it's very femme fatale. Do you know what I mean? It's not a typical Cheng Pei-Pei character. So I thought it was interesting just for that reason alone.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, bringing up her character, it's like, honestly, she kind of deserves the ending she gets. I mean, I feel like the early part where she, poisons the brother from the sect.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, she tries to make up for that. That's fine. But I feel like, when she goes back and kills everyone at the end, it's like, you've learned nothing. You are not a good person. I mean, it's like, I'm not attacking the movie, because the movie does show it this way. But I mean, clearly she's remorseful at the end. But it's like, you really did murder like 30 people and orphan all their children, and over. People trying to do their jobs and failing.
There's two ways to look at that scene. It all pivots on what's going on in Cheng Pei-Pei's mind, or Su Jiaojiao's mind, when she
Yeah.
when she overhears that that Chang Lo Lei's character is was wounded after she healed him. And so, because remember the master says whoever did this was very brutal because he healed them first and then he inflicted these injuries. Like after, so he poisoned them, healed them of the cleansed the poison wounds, and then he inflicted. And so she assumed, I think that. Well, I don't know. I think it's still up in the air, but it's possible she assumed that U.S. court did that, or through incompetence they allowed it to happen, which is what actually happened.
No, I didn't even consider the fact that she thought it might be somehow deliberate on the part of the escort company. That didn't even enter my. I mean, she'd still be in the wrong, but it would be I was just going at the fact that if you remember when she first goes to the escort and she gives him the job, she's like, if you don't pull this off, I'm going to kill you all. Yeah. And when she keeps her word, I guess,
At the very least, she's not heroic in that scene. She is at the very least she's an anti-hero in those moments. Possibly more than anti-hero. It's not standard for a hero to go like. They're kind of surprised, I think, because she's also dressed as you. So so they don't know it's her. They think it's him. So she ruins his whole reputation in the process. But they think that it's him, and so I think they're a little bit surprised that he's like so ferocious. Because he comes from this,
Well, there's an error in the subtitles actually, because that was where one of the escort people refers to as she or her, I forget. Now I had a moment, I'm like, when she walks out in I watch enough Shaw Brothers movies, I'm like, oh, okay, everyone thinks she's a boy because she's dressed like a boy. I'm just trained to see that, and then one of them calls her she. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Are they fooled?
And when there's something
I was like, or is it the subtitles? And I'm like, okay, this is the subtitles.
Well, and whenever something like that happens, you're like, wait, is there some nuance that I'm missing to this scene? Like, because you don't know for sure. I just watched The Invincible 8 the other day, but which again, I highly recommend The Invincible 8. In that, Angela Mao plays a similar character where she's dressing as a man to get into like a palace. And at one point, the characters meet with her, and then when she leaves, they're like, "I'm pretty sure that's a woman." They know that they can tell it's a woman. So it happens in these movies, but in this case, it looks like it's pretty obvious that wasn't, because the story wouldn't really make sense if they are mistaking.
No, they thought she was a girl. That they wouldn't be blaming you for the murder. So exactly. I just bring that up just to anyone who's going to go watch this movie after this podcast. Yeah, that's a subtitle error, just so you know. And I mean, there's the Shout Factory version is the one I'm talking about.
I mean, I'm trying to, I think, because I saw it on, but I think that was the Shout, I think it's the same version. I think it's the same, because I was like, I saw it on Prime and I saw it on the box set, but I think it was the Shout Factory box set, so.
I think the subtitles probably come from Celestial Pictures. I think if it's Celestial Pictures, they all have the same subtitles, at least from what I've observed.
Yeah, unless it says like new subtitles, new English subs or something. There's usually and those can also go in wild directions sometimes too. So you just never know.
Well, this has her getting the order from her master, and she says, "Roger that." This is another very dubious translation.
My favorite is Web of Death, when and it's not in the subs, it's in the dubs. But when he's doing like a Buddhist chant or something while he's meditating, and they change it to the Lord's Prayer, and it's just so it's unintentionally brilliant in a lot of ways, but it's very, very amusing.
I have seen where they did that in the subtitles. I can't remember what movie it was, but I have seen that exact same thing happen.
I think whenever I see something that I'm like, they must have been thinking back in like 1970 whatever, like Americans will never know what Buddhism is, so just change it to something biblical.
Hippies had no interest in Buddhism. It's never going to be understood.
I've also heard that a lot of the dub things they did, that there was drinking involved in some of the those Shaw Brothers dubs where it's like there's like 5 voice actors that are all doing, like, you hear the same 5 people. There's one guy, I call him Corey Feldman because he sounds just like Corey Feldman, but I don't know if he's a man or a woman or what. But but I've heard that there was some drinking involved in those, so that might explain some of the decisions too. I don't know.
Fair enough.
But anyways, I thought the ending to this, and again, we're going to spoil because there's no way to talk about the ending without.
Yeah.
And again, this is like very standard plot beats from. I mean, they've changed it, but it's standard plot beats from Heaven Sword, Dragon Saber, and in this one, she ends up. She basically takes a poison. This is very Shakespeare. They almost add a Shakespearean element to it because she takes the poison. And then when people are like, no, don't kill yourself, it's too late because it's the one poison they have. It's intended for suicide, so there is no antidote for it. And so then she asks Swordsman Yu to marry her. And so there's this whole thing where he marries her. And again, I think they kind of do it in like 2 seconds in Web of Death. But in this, there's a whole wedding ceremony. It's very drawn out. And oh, go ahead. I see you have thoughts written on your face.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is a lot more drawn out at the end than Web of Death. It's also less apocalyptic. I think Web of Death is just like a bomb goes off and everybody's dead. But most people survive this movie. But I enjoyed the slow pace at the end. As I mentioned, I thought the emotions and character were stronger in this than Web of Death. So having that extended ending with the characters, I think, paid off in a way that it wouldn't in every movie.
Yeah.
But
because she gets time to say, like, would you call me sister-in-law? Would you call me sister?
Yeah.
And all those things. I really liked it. Yeah. And Cheng Pei-Pei is great at that kind of acting too, with that kind of acting. She can even though I was dubious about her actions through the movie, it did not in any way affect me at the ending. I'm glad she's getting this nice little send off and forgiveness here at the end. It's like I feel like she brought it on herself, but I think by the end she got it. She feels
too late.
She feels very confident in this role, I think, in terms of that, like, because like you're saying, the character starts out like she's kind of got an arc. Do you know what I mean? She starts out very villainous or anti-hero. I don't know where you would put her, but she's definitely not a good guy. And by the end, this love for you sort of extracts this virtuous quality from her, and she transforms. And so by the when all this is happening, you feel really bad for her because it's like, oh, she's like, she's turned over a new leaf, all this stuff. And also the fact that I think she's bad, but she's nowhere near as bad as her brother. Or the Wu Ma character, the sniveling sub-chief Wu Ma that is constantly trying to get into a room to search. I thought that was a very fun role, the Wu Ma character.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, he was great. He added a lot to the movie, I think.
But yeah, so I don't know. Was there anything else about this movie that you wanted to get into, or again, this is a more curtailed episode, so we're not necessarily gonna.
I probably covered everything I have to say. I do recommend this. I found this was a very fun. I mean, anyone that likes Cheng Pei-Pei, I would make this a must watch if you're a Cheng Pei-Pei fan for sure. But
if you're a Cheng Pei-Pei fan, watch again. Watch Come Drink With Me, then watch this, then watch like Dragon Swan, whatever the order is of her movies. That's how I would do it. They're all available. You can go onto Prime and get them on Shout Factory if you just like do a trial subscription and then cancel it after you see your movies or something. But they're also on all those Shout Factory box sets that they have, which I'm really glad about because not all of these were available for a while. This one I remember getting a hold of, but Jade Raksha I was only able to get on VCD, and a couple of the others were kind of hard to get. And so it's good that they're available. But yeah, and again, I'm assuming people know who she is, but if they don't, she played the old lady in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She was the bad guy. She was Jade Fox. And so it's always fascinating for people who maybe don't know these movies or just don't recognize her for whatever reason to see that movie, then go back and let it dawn on them when they're watching Come Drink With Me that it's her, because her face has very consistent expressive qualities that I think even if even if you had no idea jumping from that movie to this movie or to Crouching Tiger, to Come Drink with Me, you'd recognize something very familiar. You'd be like, who is this lady? I've seen her somewhere.
Yeah, I can actually vouch for your experience because I saw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in the theater back when it first came out. Had no knowledge of the genre whatsoever, absolutely nothing. You know, and I enjoyed the movie. It's a movie I like, whatever. Went on with my life, and then after spending years of you doing the podcast, I think we reviewed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon recently, and I totally forgot she was in the movie. And then I'm like, the main character's so familiar. Then at one point, like I said, it was her expressions. It was just the energy she had kind of came out. And I'm like, oh, it's Cheng Pei-Pei. It just like dawned. And it works really well. And it was a really good effect from the standpoint that she is this unassuming maid character in the background who turns out to be like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, as the expression goes. And and so it really kind of added to the movie for it to suddenly dawn on me. And it's like then when she actually gets to a fight scene, I'm like, yeah, it's Cheng Pei-Pei in all her glory.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say too is it's worth watching these movies because there's a lot of callbacks to them in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There are moves that she does in that come right out of these movies. And they're intentional. I think he's just he's like honoring her career when he does that. But I did something like that with my uncle where I showed him Come Drink With Me. And I was just kind of looking at him the whole time, waiting. And I saw like the puzzled look on his face when he started to recognize,
Wait, you mean Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon or Come Drink With Me?
No, I'm sorry. So I saw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon with my uncle in the theater when it came out. And, and years ago, I showed him Come Drink With Me. He hadn't seen it before.
Yeah,
But I knew he had seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So I was like, and I didn't say anything to him. I just wanted to see his reaction to it. Also, the Cheng Pei-Pei commentary on Come Drink With Me on the Dragon Dynasty version. I think that's the Celestial Pictures version. I don't know which versions out there right now have it. Is some of the best commentary I've ever heard on a movie. So if you can track that down, definitely look for it. But yeah, so I guess we'll end it here. And I know we're planning on doing City on Fire at some point. That's come up as something that we're going to do for the main show. And I don't know how long me and Adam will be holding down the fort, but we might do another movie or so if we have to hold.
2010 on the radar.
Yeah, 2010. 2010 is another one. And so until then, we will talk to you later.